Hello everybody. Our today's topic is relationship between planning and controlling. We already started the chapter controlling in our last lecture. We learned about the concept of controlling, its importance, and today we will be talking about how are planning and controlling interrelated with each other. So we all know that planning and controlling, they are important functions of management. The management function begins with planning and ends with controlling, and again the cycle comes back to planning function. Between planning and controlling lies three other functions, that is organizing, staffing and directing. And how these functions, once it is performed by the manager in the organization, it helps in achievement of organizational goals. That is something which is very, very important. But the two extreme ends, one side planning, another side controlling, how they are linked together, let us learn through their relationships. So there are 5 points in this, 5 to 6 points. Memorize these points. This question may be asked in complete 6 marks question or 5 marks question, or it may also be asked in short answer type questions where a statement may be given and the reason associated with it may be asked to write. So be prepared. I have written these points to make it very clear, so that if you memorize these points and write straight away, you will score full marks. So how are planning and controlling interrelated? Let us see. The first point says planning and controlling are inseparable twins of management. When we say inseparable, that means they cannot be separated from each other. Why it is said like that? Because planning is said to be meaningless without controlling. The first reason for that is, and the second reason is, controlling is blind without planning. Planning is meaningless without controlling because plans fail in the absence of control. It is only through control that necessary, you may say, steps are taken to ensure that events conform to planned objectives. So in the process of controlling, it has been clarified what all steps are taken to see that proper monitoring of the work is done in the organization from time to time, so that the activities or the events which take place in the organization, that takes place as per the requirement to achieve the planned objectives. So planning will be meaningless without controlling, and controlling is said to be blind without planning, because it is only plans which lay down standards for control. Had there been no plans, there would be no basis for controlling. So plans lay down basis in the form of standards for controlling, and that is why controlling is blind without planning. Second point, planning is prescriptive whereas controlling is evaluative process. Prospective because planning is a thinking process. It is always an intellectual activity in which we see that there is always deciding in advance what is to be done and how it is to be done. So it is basically thinking beforehand the activities which has to be carried out in the organization. And once those activities are carried out, controlling is evaluative, because controlling is concerned with compelling events to conform to plans. Evaluation process compels that whatever events that are taking place in the organization, that is carried out as per the plans. That is why it is said to be evaluative. Had there been no evaluation or no monitoring of the work in the organization, we would not see that the plans which had been laid down, the work would be carried out as per the plan. So it is important. Planning and controlling are both backward and forward looking function. Very, very important. Sometimes in the case study based questions, it may be given, the case may be related with, someone is saying, Mr. X is saying planning is forward looking, Mr. Y is saying planning is backward looking. How are their statements? To what extent is it correct or incorrect, or who is correct, who is incorrect? These questions may be asked in that way. So the exact thing is that planning and controlling both are forward and backward looking function. Why it is said Because planning is forward looking. How? Because in planning there is setting of standards, and that standard is set for the future. So it is looking ahead function. Looking ahead what is to be achieved in future through setting standards. Planning is also backward looking because it is based on past experience about the organization. On the basis of that experience, another plan is made. Controlling is forward looking because in controlling there is always corrective action taken, and that corrective action is taken for improvement for the future. Controlling is also backward looking because in controlling there is review of the standards, and that review means viewing back, and that review of standards which are set in the past, makes it backward looking. Then planning is a prerequisite for controlling, always it is said. Why? Because without planning it would not be easy to understand what is the expected performance or the desired performance which has to be achieved by the organization. And once planning is done, then only an effort is made through controlling to reach to that desired performance. So planning seeks consistent, integrated and articulated programs, while controlling seeks to compel events to conform to plans. Fifth point, planning and controlling reinforce each other. Reinforce in a sense means they complement each other, because planning makes controlling easier and effective based on facts, and controlling improves future plannings. After controlling, the cycle comes back again to planning function, and whenever the next plan is made, there is always improvisation to see that the targets they are achieved in much better manner. It is through the controlling it is able to review how far the standards have been achieved, and that helps in making better plans for the future. And the last point, planning is the first function and controlling the last function in the sequence of management process. Yesterday we talked that whenever a question may be asked in 1 mark, is controlling the last function? No, controlling is not the last function, because after controlling and again the cycle is moved back to planning function. But in the sequence of the management process, each and every manager performs these 5 functions: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and then comes the controlling, and again the cycle comes back to planning function. So in this way we see that planning and controlling, they are interrelated, interdependent, inseparable twins of each other, without which the organization cannot achieve success. So they are very, very important. A small topic we have covered today, and after this we will be talking about controlling process. Till then, thank you.